Michael Smith.
Michael Smith's gonna come back and tell
Michael
you.
Smith, Nate Fields, and Keith Price.
Yeah, that's.
Malicious mischief.
Yeah.
I don't do nothing malicious mischief, Lattice.
Okay, all right, now, go back and forth.
The
Gets
Senate
back
here.
to
The board,
gets
the
back,
board is talking.
it gets back to electoral board, and they seek judicial enforcement of the
Okay,
subpoena.
please stop now. Otherwise,
I'm
you will
not
be
talking to
removed.
you, I'm talking.
No,
to
you're
Keith
talking,
Price.
you are interrupting the
I'm
proceedings.
talking to Keith
You
Price.
will be removed. Enough.
Leave the room.
So it's May.
So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the aftermath of Tiffany Henyard's final attempt to hold any form of power that she possibly can in Thornton Township. Now, I don't know if you guys forgot, but there was a little statement made by Keith and our boy Michael Scarryface Smith, okay? They said that they're going to file complaints and that they're really going to prove that Napoleon Harris, well, he just doesn't live there.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest. This is a fraud.
He doesn't live, and therefore he's not eligible to run for that seat, you know? Now, again, that clip that you just saw was the aftermath after the lawyer completely savagely destroyed Michael Smith, okay? I'm talking Michael Smith was hot. You could see the sweat, the reflection from his forehead from how angry he was from these cross-examinations. They brought up, you know, the kid diddling, allegedly, you know. They brought up him getting fired, stealing gas. They just made him look like a terrible witness. But before we get to that, you know, this was like a 7-hour-long meeting, and you can watch the entire thing on the live stream. Go check that out if you're interested. But the main thing I want to point out before we get there was the mayor of Harvey, okay? Because the mayor of Harvey is, in my opinion, spearheading this campaign to remove Napoleon Harris from office, or even attempting to get into the office that he's trying to run for also. So there's a few witnesses, and I'm going to save the best for last. But let's go ahead and check this out. So this TD Jakes looking gentleman is the mayor of Harvey. His name is Christopher J. Clark, and he's also an attorney. So, you know, that combo is also, it's always amazing. You know, being an attorney and also being a politician, it's just like the best combo to fuck the masses. You know what I mean?
Do you understand that?
Of course.
Okay. And where do you reside?
My address or
What city do you live in?
Harvey, Illinois.
Okay. And are you an elected official in Harvey?
Yes, I am.
And what is your title?
I'm the mayor of the city of Harvey.
And how long have you been the mayor of the city of Harvey?
I think 5 years now. I think I'm maybe in my 6th year. Something like that.
Okay. And how long over the course of your life have you lived in the city of Harvey, the village of Harvey?
My entire city, it's a city.
City.
And my entire life, 55 years.
And prior to being mayor, what type of work did you do?
I'm an attorney by trade.
Okay. And do you have experience in any particular areas of law or?
It's general, but most of my cases range from business, family, and some municipal.
Okay. And so, other than practicing law, were you a real estate agent also?
Yes,
And when was that?
that was between, I think it was 2004 and 2006, I believe that it was.
Now, keep in mind, that's going to come into that's going to come in handy later on, okay? Because we have a whole bunch of things about water meters, about knowledge of the area. Just keep in mind where he says that, you know, he was a real estate agent for a long time. So, you know, he knows the area his whole life. He's been there his whole life. So, you know, a man like him obviously should know where a guy like Napoleon Harris lives on a day-to-day basis. Like, clearly he should know and keep track of a high-profile man like Napoleon Harris, obviously, right? Let's move forward, though. This has nothing to do with anything, but I needed to throw this in here. We saw Tiffany for the first time after the brawl. Now, I know she did like a whole Fox News interview or something. I'm going to do that later. But this was the first time that she appeared before going to that ridiculous interview that she had.
An objection for relevance, you can either ask the board for ruling yourself, you can ask the objector's counsel, what is the relevance of the question, to do an objection for relevance.
What is the relevance?
We're going to talk about the difference between Flossmoor and Harvey and just establishing some background for that.
Now she pops in, she's coaching them, she's telling them what to do. She's like, hey, Keith, remember now. Remember, tell him that you used to drive by the house every day. You drove by the house every single day. And you didn't see nothing. You didn't see nobody by the house. Make sure, remember to tell them that. She came through, man, and it was so hilarious when we did it on the live stream. I was like, wow, she's back, no black eyes. Somebody said she hit her head, she doesn't look very concussed, painted on makeup as usual, and she's on her way to that damn interview. I'm gonna show a little snippet right here.
The mayor of Dalton has had nothing to say in person about the investigation into village finances until today.
I understand everybody want me to be the target. I understand everybody want me to be the bad guy for everything that goes on in the village, but that's not the truth.
So the documents that about this objection indicate that you were the person that personally filed that objection. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you are also a candidate for the office of Thornton Township Supervisor, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so you would, obviously benefit from this objection being sustained, correct?
It depends on your perspective.
And what is your perspective?
I'm here to help.
Okay. So,
Biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. Now, I have a theory. I know that Tiffany Henyard and this man, they know each other, this, that, and the other, right? But I think that in his mind, with Napolean Harris in the race, they both lose. Napolean Harris wins. Now, I think definitely that's the case because he got all that publicity during the caucus. Everybody knows Napolean Harris at this point. Like, the name is lingering. I feel like in his mind, if he was able to remove Napolean Harris and he actually goes against Tiffany Henyard, well, that means he's got it in the bag. Napolean Harris is the only issue. Now, I mean, we could even go as far to say that him and Tiffany agreed upon removing Napolean Harris just so that they could have it out together. Who knows? But all I'm saying is nobody takes time from their busy career. He's a lawyer, he's a mayor, he's doing all this stuff. Nobody takes time from their busy life to just do what's right. It doesn't happen too often. And a person like this, I highly doubt it. He was like, he just wants to see the right thing done. Bullshit. And the more we hear evidence, because we haven't really gotten into evidence yet, the evidence that he gives and the evidence that Michael Smith gives is the shakiest shit I've ever heard in my life. But let's continue.
prior to filing the objection, did you review the objection?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you assist in filing this objection?
Because from everything that I knew of, it was true.
Okay. And when you say it was true, what are you basing that on?
My knowledge of Senator Harris over the years, my knowledge of where he lives, at least from my perspective, my knowledge of the alleged home in Harvey, Illinois, my review of what I had seen on several occasions from Facebook posts and things in his, you call it, Illinois State Board of Election filings and things of that nature. Driving through Entree and around that area.
Okay, you hear the bullshit, right? Facebook posts, driving through around that area. We're going to stop it right there because this guy's a driver. This guy likes to peruse the neighborhood and just stalk. I mean, likes to just check on the kids in the neighborhood, apparently, it seems. Now, let's place this out. The whole thing is that if you check his ID or whatever, it's going to have that he lives in Harvey. He's a resident in Harvey. They're not challenging that he has something that shows he's a resident in Harvey. They're trying to prove that he's lying about it, basically. They're going to try to prove that his actual existing voting registration, his ID, is false. And they're going to try to prove it through water bills. They're going to try to prove it through checking on the neighborhood and driving around. They're going to try to prove it through Facebook posts. It's ridiculous. But let's go through exhibit number 1.
A variety of things have given me, have led me to that conclusion.
Okay, is there anything else that you didn't mention? You said a variety of things. I just want to make sure we get everything that you can think of on the record.
Well, going by knowing that he doesn't live at the Harvey House. I've been by the Harvey House on several occasions. Over the past 5 years. It's my usual routine to drive in and around the city, to take note of what's going on in the city. Homes that are there, homes that are lived in, homes that are abandoned, homes that are dilapidated, homes that need repair, streets that need repair, making those observations. So I would say probably I've been by that home more than the home in Baltimore. At least 50 to 75 times.
Okay, and have you ever observed Mr. Harris at the Givens address any of those 50 to 70 times that you've gone by?
Okay, let's dissect that. This busy mayor, listen, the guy was in real estate, might not be doing no more. He's a lawyer, he's a mayor, he's got all this shit going around, but he's had the time to drive past Napoleon Harris's alleged house, right? Alleged. He got up on his ID. He doesn't even live there. It's on his ID, but he doesn't even live there. He passed. So you expect me to believe that you passed this house 70 some times? If you did, you are a stalker. I bet you he has a little notebook writing down who lives in what house and who's been acting strange in the neighborhood. What? Bro, you're the mayor. I can't believe that. If you're doing that, you clearly need to go do something else with your time. Maybe get removed from office, because what the fuck? Oh yeah, I probably passed like 50 to 70 times. Yeah, just never seen him. Never seen him. All right, so there's a lot of objections that go on. The lawyers argue, but basically that's the gist of it. He has evidence that Napoleon Harris doesn't actually live there. The mayor is saying that because he passed this house a whole bunch of times and didn't see him. That's the evidence. Okay, so cross-examination comes through.
Mr. Clark, Mayor Clark, so I'm clear here, and everyone else is clear. You are seeking the office of Township Supervisor in the April 1, 2025 election, correct?
That is correct.
And your opponent is Napoleon Harris, correct?
I have several opponents, but he is one of them.
And you are here testifying, as you said, I want to help out, right? You're here to help, right?
That was in reference to being the supervisor of the township.
But you're here to help out and offer testimony in an effort to have Mr. Harris knocked off the ballot, correct?
Sir.
Is that correct, sir?
No.
You're here to provide testimony on behalf of an objection that you prepared or were involved in preparing, correct?
No.
Well, with regard to the lawyers that are representing you, is it not true that Carrie Lynn Carepafter represents the city of Harvey?
The lawyers aren't representing me.
Does Carrie Lynn Carepafter represent the city of Harvey? Does Carrie Lynn represent you?
No.
Does she represent the city of Harvey?
Yes.
And who is paying the lawyers on behalf of the objectors?
I'm not.
Do you know who is paying them?
No.
With regard to Jerlene Harris, you went to go tell her information, correct?
I don't recall.
Well, you just testified that you went to go tell her about what you knew, right?
Not from my recollection. No.
Mischaracterizes his testimony.
Yes.
With regard to your testimony, what did you tell Jerlene Harris?
I told her about Senator Harris not living in the April Township, not living in Baltimore, not living in Harvey, and as I testified previously.
Does he sound a little too invested to you? Like, oh, yeah, he had to break it down. He had to go talk to people. He had to go and confirm things. He sounds very invested in this. And let's keep it real, bro. What if I'm super rich and I just don't be at the house very often? That's a very real possibility. That doesn't mean that I'm not a resident. That just means I'm not at the house that often. Like, but no, you got people like this driving around the city about 50 to 70 times checking on you. Keep a shotgun in your house, folks. You're going to need it. You might see a big, tall, bald-headed black TD Jakes creeping through your house at some point in the night. You never know. Load that shit up. But anyways, let's move on to my favorite person, Michael Smith.
And are you familiar with Napoleon Harris?
Yes,
And how do you know Mr. Harris?
I know Mr. Harris, previous board member of Village of Dixmoor. At that time, he was our senator.
And when you say at this time, what time are you referring to?
At the time, I lived in the Village of Dixmoor and was on the board.
And what
That
years
was
would that
about,
be?
that had to be almost 10 years ago then, maybe.
Okay, so you've known Napoleon Harris for 10 years?
Yes.
This is going to be a recurring thing for him, a recurring theme. He cannot remember any date, and it's going to piss the whole board off. The guy is not too bright, and you're going to see it happen very often. Every lawyer in this room is going to get pissed off with this man, equally.
And are you aware of whether or not Mr. Harris holds any elected offices?
Yes, he holds several elected seats.
And what are those seats to your knowledge?
The Democratic Committeeman for Thornton Township. He is the senator for the senatorial District 15 legislative.
And have you been to the Flossmoor address that is on? Have you been to the Flossmoor address that we're alleging Mr. Harris lives at?
1405 Dumfries Street, in Flossmoor?
Yes.
Several times.
Okay, and what did you observe there? Well, let's see, when was the first time you went there?
The first time is on my way to church, about the same time. Me going by.
About the same time as when?
April. It's April.
Of what year?
What
Yeah,
year?
Mr. Smith, if you can be more specific
April of
in your statements.
2023, when I was on my way to church. I stopped at 1405 Dumfries Street, and I observed the Cadillac Escalade in the driveway with the 15 Senatorial District license plate number, as well as the Mercedes-Benz, that's the charcoal, and the white two-door Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, and this was in April of 2024.
Correct.
So just to keep you up to speed, right? There's one house that these people are alleging he actually lives at, right? There's another house in Harvey that he's registered to vote at, right? So what they're trying to say is that this kind soul, this kind man was driving to church in his Sunday best, you know, on his way to church, and he was like, let me just pull up next to the senator's house. Oh, I think that's Napoleon Harris' house. You see his cars? That's his car right there. So he pulled over and took a note of where he lived. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And I could see if you just happen to like pass his house and that happens to be your route, right? The man said he went there before going to church. Like, this was an idea in his head. Like, let me just go and pass this house real quick. It doesn't make sense.
The witness said 2023.
You said 2023.
I
Which
meant to
is
say 2023.
Leading.
He said it was the same time he went to the Givens address.
Definitely leading a
Let
witness.
him testify.
There's been multiple timeframes.
Right.
And this is why it's very important, Mr. Smith, that you state the year and the timeframe, because obviously you can see the confusion that's being caused.
Not
So
just the
please
year.
be,
Month
be specific.
Let's clarify the record, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith,
When is the
month and day, if you know it, but at least the month and year.
what is your recollection of the first time that you went by 1405 Dumfries in Flossmoor?
April of 2024.
Okay, do you recall the date?
I can't recall the date. I can't recall the date.
Okay. Other than the 3 cars that you identified that were parked there, were there any other cars parked at that address?
No.
Okay, have you, after April of 2024, did you go back to 1405 Dumfries in Flossmoor?
Yes.
And when was the next time you went back?
The next time was about 2 weeks after, which would be April again of 2024. And I witnessed the same thing.
Why he keep going over there?
Cadillac Black Escalade, Senatorial District.
Now remember, this is before the caucus. This is before all that. So that means he was, quote unquote, investigating Napoleon Harris before the whole situation with the caucus. Because remember, nobody even was talking about Napoleon Harris before this. We didn't give a fuck where he lived, what he was doing, nothing. Now, all of a sudden, this was super long investigation sometime back in 2024 was taking place by Michael Smith. You know, he was going to church, stopped by. Maybe he wasn't going to church. Maybe he just stopped by every once in a while to take a few pictures and check the scenery out. That makes absolutely no sense. He literally thought up of a scenario in his head and just brought it to court. He's lying. There's no way.
Along with the charcoal Mercedes-Benz and the white two-door Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, and this was again in April of 2024?
Correct.
Okay, and when's the next time you went back to 1405 Dumfries Avenue?
That would be May of 2024.
Okay, and when you went to the Flossmoor address in May of 2024, what did you observe?
I observed the same thing.
So he's clearly living there, right? He's clearly living there. We have Mr. T.D. Jakes, mayor of Harvey, saying that he passed the other house. No one was ever there. Never there. 70 times. No one was ever there. Then we have Mr. Scary Face Michael Kid Diddler, allegedly. What's his last name? Michael Smith. And he's saying, well, I passed the other house that's not in the bounds of Harvey, and I would see him there all the time. Isn't it so convenient how these two men are having these experiences separate from each other? Just on their own, like this one just happened to pass his house all the time, and that one just happened to be doing an investigation. If somehow they invalidate his right to stay in the race, I'm telling you, throw away the whole board, because this shit doesn't make any sense. And sometimes the board irritated me throughout this live stream. It's like they're not hearing sometimes, but I hope they can hear this. It stinks of bullshit over here. All right, so that's basically his entire thing. You know, I pass this house all the time doing an investigation. That's the words he used, not stalking. He was investigating. Two very, it's a slippery slope with those two words. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, cross-examine comes through and just makes him look like a dumbass.
Where is Senator Harris registered to vote?
14633 Gibbons Court.
Now, you testified that you visited 14633 on multiple occasions, correct?
Yes.
And you also testified that you visited this property in Flossmoor, correct?
1405 Dumfries Street.
I'm going to make sure, we're going to call that Flossmoor, and we're going to call the Gibbons Court the Harvey residence, okay?
I just want to be clear with the record. So 1405 Dumfries Street and Flossmoor is the Flossmoor, then 14633 Gibbons Court is the Harvey.
Okay. Now, sir, during the time period of 2024, when you first started this investigation, you have a phone, correct?
You say I have a phone?
Do you have a phone?
Yes.
A cell phone?
Yes.
What type is it?
It's an iPhone.
iPhone. It has a camera on it, right?
Yes.
It also has the ability to take video, correct?
Yes.
Now, for each of these times, you had your phone with you, right? Each time you visited the Harvey residence, you had your phone with you, right?
Yes.
Did you take pictures of each time you visited?
Yes.
Did you produce those?
However, my phone was broken.
The phone was broken. So, bro, listen, those months of investigation out the window, and all we have to do is hear his word for it. Just take his word for it. Believe him. Believe in Michael Smith. Like, what? He seems like a stand-up guy. I mean, he did the research, bro. I promise you he did. But his phone broke. Now, I don't know if you guys remember. I think these weird folks, they do the same things. They all should hang out together. They probably do all hang out together. Like Kendrick Lamar said, predators move in flocks. And I think that's true. Because, you know, you look at somebody like, what's his name? The little Madeline girl. Stephen Stearns, right? He had a similar story. Like, oh, remember they found all those insane photos of, him doing things with the girl? He was like, oh, I accidentally reset my phone. Oh my God, my phone. I don't know what happened. All my pictures disappeared. It is the dumbest excuse I've ever heard in 2025. That does not happen, sir. And I'm telling you, again, this is all, I haven't looked into his thing with the school, so I keep saying allegedly, but this is a guy who's had issues with younger girls before. I'm telling you, them predators, they move in flocks, brothers and sisters.
Lost my access to those,
iCloud.
to the iCloud, because I didn't
How?
my iCloud information.
Oh, so you just happened to lose all that, right?
I lost it, yes.
And same thing for the property, the Flossmoor property, correct?
You said for the
Flossmoor, also.
Yeah, that was all on my
You just happened to lose all those photographs, right?
Yeah, well, you can't get back into your iCloud.
Didn't save them to your phone?
You can't. With iPhone, you can't save them to your phone. Everything's saved to your iCloud. So
And that's 100% bullshit. You could even disconnect your phone from the iCloud, okay? You have to purchase iCloud storage if your phone gets too filled up. That's bullshit. But again, I think Michael Smith is banking on the board not really knowing that. Let's keep it real. I don't know if these board members to the left understand too much of iCloud and iPhone and storage and photos and all that. So they might just be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, what can you do? The pictures are gone. It's irritating, but he's actually under oath, guys. Remember, he's under oath saying this shit. All these lies. This is inaccurate. This is not true. Your phone broke?
Mr. Smith, is it your testimony that you're required to save everything to the cloud when you use your iPhone?
you have to.
Thank
when
you.
are
I didn't see the
getting
name.
and accessing another device.
For the $5.
It's not like an Android where it just automatically transfers over. Everything is sent to your iCloud. So I don't have access to that iCloud. I lost that iCloud.
Okay, but let's pause it right there. Okay, he lost his iCloud. He lost it. But later on throughout this situation, they find, wait, one picture. We have one picture, but all the rest, they're just not there. Like, we couldn't really get the rest of them. Like, we couldn't finish unscrewing the iCloud, so we're only able to get one. It's insane. Let's show that point too, because they're able to produce one picture. One out of months of investigation.
Okay, and it's your testimony this was taken on January 15th, 2025?
No.
What time was it taken?
This was in December of 2024.
Well, it says Flossmoor, January 15th, 8:12 p.m.
Yeah, but I took a picture in December of 2024.
Is this a picture you took in December of 2024?
This is one of the pictures, but it wasn't done in January.
This is the only picture I have
Okay.
that you took related to the Flossmoor home.
Mhm.
Okay, is that correct?
That you had, yes.
You may have more, right?
I don't
Objection,
have.
objection.
I told you that.
He produced everything that he produced to us, and you have more than one picture. There's more than one picture that he produced. As evidence.
Nah, but it just makes him look so bad. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of like your star witness right now. The mayor of Harvey, sure. But Michael Smith is the guy. He's the one who did the investigation. He's the one who took the pictures. He's the one. You are fumbling, sir. He literally kind of made it seem like, well, I might have more. You know, they're making him look bad. And they're going to continue to attack his character. Let's move forward because they have to bring up the good stuff.
You've never been convicted of theft?
No.
You've never been convicted of stealing gasoline from the village of Dixmoor?
No.
It's your testimony, you've never been convicted?
That's my testimony.
Were you fired from Thornton Fractional High School District?
Objection, Roberts.
His character.
Hopefully the objection will be overruled.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay, 2-1, overruled.
Sir, were you ever fired from Thornton Township Fractional High School?
Can you rephrase your question?
Have you ever been fired? Let's start that one.
Fired for what?
A job.
Yes.
Were you fired for lying on an employment application at Oak Park River Forest?
No.
Were you fired anywhere for lying on a job application?
No.
Were you fired for failing to disclose past history at a school district?
Yes.
And which school district?
215.
And what were you fired for, sir?
Wasn't that I didn't disclose it. I was fired because they said that I could not work within a school that was in the Peter District of 215. That's why I was fired.
And were you fired from 215?
Yes.
What were you fired for?
So what was I fired for?
What were you fired for?
Because of an accusation that was later cleared up by the DCFS.
Now, the second you say something was cleared up by the DCFS, I'm gonna look at you kind of strange. Like, what were you doing with the kids, huh? What was up with the children? Hold on now. What needs to get cleared up with the children, bro? What were you doing with the kids? What happened? You know what I'm saying? Very weird stuff. You know, it's a weird situation. Shit, let's go back to Kendrick Lamar. He's got a weird case. Why is he around? I don't fucking know. But he's a weird one, all right. But anyway, this was hours long, and this was just a quick recap. I'm fucking tired. So shout out to you guys for coming out, checking out the recap. If I do seem a little lower than usual, I stayed up super late. I'm tired again. But I love you guys, so I had to post this shit. But anyways, I'm gonna hit you guys back later. Tap in with me tomorrow, because we're going to cover some more things. I might go live this evening, so stay tuned. I might go live this evening, so stay tuned for that. But until then, folks, stay inside, stay safe. Let me know in the comments if you think this is going to work. Do you think they're going to discredit Napoleon Harris's entire nomination run, or do you think he's going to skate by and demolish Tiffany? You guys let me know. I'll hit you guys later. Peace.